Okay, so we got a FOMC meeting coming up very soon. So I'm very, very much excited to see what the Federal Reserve is going to say, what they're going to announce, which is most likely, in my opinion, and many others' opinions as well, that's just going to be another hold rate steady and wait for more evidence that inflation is going down, regardless of tariff concerns and the delay factor for tariffs and how that when that represents onto the CPI as well. But we're gonna talk about Bitcoin. We're gonna talk about Mara stock. I'm gonna share with you guys my opinions. I'm gonna give you guys a few different realistic pathways on this chart and how it's gonna influence Mara. How I narrow it down, and then at the end of the day, just what am I doing personally. I just want to show you guys, keep you guys updated, share my own opinions, but of course, remember, it's very important everyone does their own due diligence and make sense of the charts and all the fluctuations for themselves, right? So, real quick, for a lot of you that are new, um, we've been keeping track of Bitcoin for since the start of this channel, and we've have been really fortunate to see that Bitcoin is still holding a bull market cycle, but it's not a surprise, right? We've had a lot of signs. I mean, with interest rate cuts eventually happening, there's still that backwind pushing a lot of risk on assets onto this like setting up moment, in my opinion, to really start popping soon. And I do believe they haven't really gone as much as if you guys look at any growth ETFs, or if you guys are even just looking at the S&P. I believe this is the start. Now the S&P keeps going higher, making new highs, but it could be setting up for the sell and use event, and this could influence a lot of other factors. If you guys look at the DXY, we have a lot of reasons for the DXY to shift. We have a lot of reasons to start really seeing the VIX start popping. I mean, it can still go down a little bit more. This can allow, when the announcement happens, a little bit of a push before then it settles, and then potentially allow the S&P to come down, and this can influence Bitcoin too. But I don't want to get into it too much because I really want to focus on the Bitcoin chart and Mara. But realistically, right, like a retracement is very highly possible, especially as the VIX keeps going to those previous lows. Seeing that the DXY is getting ready for a nice retracement, we could be in an overall swing low on the bigger picture. If you guys have been keeping track of this for a while, it could be very influential to get um, a better opportunity where a lot of money is flowing out of these more um, historically considered to be somewhat of a stable, even though it's not, asset, and then potentially it can start flowing into Bitcoin and a lot of other risk on assets as anticipation for the US government to potentially, in my opinion, start printing money. Um, of course, they got to lower rates for that, so there's a lot of pressure for the Fed to start cutting rates. But yeah, in yesterday's video, I said, and I gave you guys a smaller picture retracement here, and I said, for anyone that's really falling into FOMO and you just can't help it, well, there's an opportunity. And I kept saying, like, it's very important to have a very tight SL, because in my opinion, like, it's completely fine for anyone to take a trade as they see fit, but it's extremely likely that we're going down into the overall retracement from this swing high, or from this low all the way to the swing high. So we easily crushed through that micro support. Again, it was super probable, and we're finally down into the overall support within the structure. Now, this is a little bit of a test to potentially consider that the overall target area, which is still my primary view, being down here between ideally 108 and 115k, but I'm really much focused on between 115 to 110k. And then I'm gonna go into detail of what I'm doing personally, but yeah, we're at this point, right? So we, as we came down, I gave you guys a retracement, and I said, like, it's very possible for Bitcoin to go up into this area. It's healthy. I mean, the RSI has been super when it comes to stable. It hasn't been super fluctuative like we've seen before. It's actually been holding steady quite well. We went up into it, and I kept saying like, hey, we broke over the 120 moving average. We're still holding the 120 moving average as support in the micro picture. We did three overall tests here, here, and here. They've all held very well, while the RSI has not been over exhausted to the upside. And I said, well, usually I like to see these retracement areas get filled, especially if we are trying to consider a potential for creating a supportive structure where we can look at an alternative scenario, which will be invalidating anything below 115, and instead start looking at higher prices. In this case, 128,000. Regardless, both ways that I'm going to talk about lead to 128,000, at least to me, in my own opinion, and what I'm targeting. But basically, we have that. It maxed out. Was very much likely. It finally maxed out the RSI as we went into the premium section of it. So now what I'm looking at is still from yesterday's videos holding support. So support is the yellow area. We're actually holding the 0.35 retracement as support at 117.6k. Basically, that's where the majority of the support is within these wicks. This is an hour, 1 hour time frame, so it may look different in other ones, and it will probably look a lot more accurate. But it's good enough. We went into the yellow. We're holding support. The RSI has not bottomed out yet, which means it's very possible. It's very likely that we can continue to see bearish momentum. And again, there was a lot of tariff news positivity pumping. Obviously, like, this isn't good enough. Like, yes, there's some deals being made, but a lot of the effects will take a delayed. There's a delayed element to them, and the Fed understands that very well, and they're I'm sure they're going to talk about it too. But yeah, we couldn't break these swing highs. I mean, I wasn't expecting these swing highs to be broken. It's super realistic. Like, every time we look at these fib extensions and retracements, volume tends to drop and cause like a reversal, a retracement from whatever move we're having. So right now we're holding support. Now this is the first area we want to look at. I can easily see the price going back into the 116k range in the discounted portion of this before we see potentially a more significant support being created. There's also some nice imbalance right here, but again, like, just like I do in these, in my from my trading history, these retracements are so important to keep an eye on, right? So as of right now, this is a normal retracement. It's not super significant. Normally, I would like to see this get filled more, and it probably will. The RSI is showing that it can still get filled more. So as we come down lower, I'll be following the price. And all this is a simple way to look at a 3-wave corrective move down, for those of you that like Elliott waves, before we go down and make that overall one more low. Now, that's the primary view. And, well, the secondary view would be, if this fails and we retest the swing high, if we break the swing high, then we're looking at a uptrend forming. And then from there, then, hey, I'm not going to be paying attention to this area anymore. But there's no reason to get ahead of ourselves, right? We still have not confirmed support. We're just fluctuating right here, and the RSI is not even bottomed out. It doesn't have to bottom out, but we can easily come back up into retracement, so it'll be around basically 118.5k, or we can just go down more. It'll be more realistic. But this is just a lot of speculation. I'm more focused on the value structure, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing if you guys have not been watching the previous videos, and then we'll jump in tomorrow. But what I've been saying since we were back up here, I kept saying I'm going to wait for all of my supportive fib support structures. So the first one being this area where I begin to accumulate. We had a nice short-term sell opportunity for those of you that like those short-term trades. And as you can see, volume couldn't maintain. It dropped, and then volume increased for a continuation of this sideways consolidation. But basically, I'm using a lot of these today. I did add more. I will most likely add more tomorrow if there's any weakness. I'm waiting to add a bit more. I only added $10,000 more today, so 40K invested. I want to add another 10,000, 50K, and then I'll show you guys the position because right now it's pretty much there's nothing to see. It's pretty much flat. Um, so I will be showing it to you guys soon, regardless of what happens. But I'm using a lot of these fib support levels as an opportunity to buy. Right now, I'm looking for continuation of a weakness to buy. I like to buy in early, and this is what I'm doing. I buy early because BitU it's not available 24/7 like spot Bitcoin. So I'd rather buy early because I do believe that we can either start going up from now and that'll be fine. I'm invested, but I want to add more, and to add more, I want to see the price have that overall one more low from here down into this area where I believe this will not last very long. I do believe that the price can trade within this area for a brief moment, probably no more than a week, probably just a couple days, in my opinion, before it quickly recovers out of it, and then from there starts an uptrend. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I want to accumulate early because, again, overnight trading, when the stock market's closed and Bitcoin's trading, we tend to see a lot of these. Like this movement was post market. The next movement could be post market too, but right now we're paying attention to this FOMC. This can cause a lot of volume to come into the market. When this volume comes in, then I'm looking for a break of support so we can go down into the primary trade pathway. If not, we're looking for this swing high to be broken, and then from there, the view will be pretty much super simple. And this is an estimate at the moment. I am not taking this seriously because we do not have bullish confirmation, but this would allow us to have a nice wave higher, breaking all-time high, creating a new one, and then allowing new supportive structures to be created for us to look at how healthy the RSI is compared to these supportive structures, and if a continuation higher breaking the 128K is likely or not. But as of right now, until bullish confirmation happens, FOMC can be a crazy card just because of course we're holding pretty steady. Any movement after the moment the FOMC is announced, I do believe it will just be a reaction. And then after that settles, we'll see the actual direction, which will be the opposite. But regardless, it makes sense to me that we can make a one more low into here before we really start seeing the price pump higher. Now, the way this kind of falls into Mara is Mara's been holding pretty steady. Another day of it trading within the red range. This is very good. For a lot of you that, in my opinion, like to accumulate swing trades during discounted value structures. I do believe we can come down lower into this. But as of right now, just depending on how tomorrow's FOMC goes, we still have the opportunity for short-term traders that accumulated. In my opinion, this is how I see it, to still have an opportunity to sell within a bullish fake out. But it's I just call it that because that's FOMO kicks into a lot of people, hype kicks in, and then everyone gets faked out because the price pumps up, and then no one's paying attention to imbalance, no one's paying attention to retracement and how the RSI represents that. We're below the 120 moving average. Like this is perfect for an overall proper, nice 3-wave move down for those Elliott wave traders. This can be the start of the second wave. Have that final third wave lower low from here, allowing the red area to have a second test, and then actually start trading briefly below $16 will be a really, really nice opportunity to accumulate below $16. And that's what I'm paying attention to. It's going to take some time because regardless of what happens tomorrow, regardless of what Bitcoin does, Mara does not have to follow Bitcoin. It does not always follow Bitcoin. So I'm looking for, a lot of these feared out short-term sellers. The buyers start kicking in. We have that retracement, bullish fake out retracement, breaking over the 120 moving average, making everyone think it's going to pump higher. The RSI will be very much over exhausted to the upside. It's Mara is a really good short. I mean, right now, you know, it's very much possible, but regardless of whether or not the price comes into this area or however high it wants to go, the purpose of this is to show that I do not believe we have currently the momentum to break over this price range around $19. It doesn't have to reach it. I'm just saying that even if it does, like, there's a lot of risk right there, right? Because I still want to see Mara break below $16 before it's a really, really good deal. But for those swing traders that actually have time horizon inside their trading management checklist, whatever your trade horizon is, again, do your own due diligence. But basically, even if we come out of this, I do believe a second retest is possible. Either we have a second retest coming down below 16, or we just come below 16 now. I really don't care. But the purpose of this is to show that I do not believe the price can go higher than this until we have that second retest. That's just my opinion, regardless of FOMC and regardless of Bitcoin. There is some short-term bullishness potentially building up, but again, the overall view, to me, is below $16 briefly, right? And that's where the real good deal comes in. So yeah, hopefully, this is my opinion. And then from there, if you guys been watching the last videos from there, I'm looking at an average of, it's basically $22 as a solid TP for profit taking for the next leg up. If you guys been watching since last year, and I mean, especially, when I first started this channel, I've been keeping track of Mara's like history and like all the structures and what we're really looking at. And I created this purple line like a year ago, and this purple line, in my opinion, is dividing this both cycles discount and premium. Of course, once we go into premium, we have other areas to look at for a bull market cycle top. Of course, this is mostly influenced by expected quarterly reports in the future for Mara and what those can look like. But as of right now, there is a lot of short-term weakness. But I do believe it can go much higher later this year. But there's no reason to worry about that just yet. We're just waiting for risk-on assets to become much more attractive when the Fed starts printing cash and we get that asset inflation and we start getting a lot of money flowing into companies like this, for example, right? So this is my opinion. We're still discounted overall in Mara. We're below that purple line. So 22 will still be below it. It's very realistic. But again, very attractive below $16. That's all I'm saying. That's just my opinion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.